And welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another BTNeanderthal video where we go over build guides, specifically talking about the Curse, Hemorrhage, Necro. Everything is revolved around the Hemorrhage skill, dude. So, let's give some gameplay for a second. Do I actually have Desecrate on this build? Yes, I do. So, we're gonna get some revives. Good. Technically, you don't need this many revives. But it's whatever. Oops, I didn't actually mean to revive that stuff. They're kind of like meat shields. I'd say this is a very soft-core, or not, very hardcore friendly build, not necessarily a softcore friendly build. And I'll explain that in a second here. But let's do just a little bit of showcasing here. So generally speaking, we decrep, and then we curse with Hemorrhage. Now we're using Enigma so we can warp. We do this. So decrep to slow things down. And then we Hemorrhage. So this build is another P1 build, I'd say. So Players 1, it is probably best used in Players 1 as a higher level, or like as more players enter the game, the Hemorrhage damage really starts to suffer. But because your curses and you're specting the curses, you can actually become like kind of a support necro to some extent, because your curses are actually really high level. But, you know, doing damage versus not doing damage, I prefer doing damage. So yeah, this is basically what you do. Kind of decrep everything. If it's too fast, you just bam, and then Hemorrhage. Now, Hemorrhage is actually not considered a curse. So on curse immune maps, you can actually still use Hemorrhage. So that's kind of cool. But yeah, it doesn't really matter. This character, the one thing that's good is you can do pretty much any content because you're doing actual damage, like real damage. There's no like element or type of damage you're doing. You're just doing damage. So that's the benefit of this build, is you're literally just doing damage. And it's damage over time as well. Yeah, so that's kind of a showcase, a little bit of what it does. Shadow Disciplines, Poggies. Yeah, so it is a little bit slow. I'd say it's a lot better for hardcore than it is for softcore, because there's a lot of builds that are faster than this. For example, Corpse Explosion Necromancer, which I don't have set up, but it is awesome. Even on hardcore, it's actually awesome. But it is kind of fun to play around with Hemorrhage skill. You know, cursing monsters down to death is kind of a cool playstyle. You know, you got a nice big radius and pod with decrep, and then you just curse things down like we were showing. So there's no immunes, which is awesome, even on curse immune maps. So yeah, so we did a little demonstration there, and now we're going to talk about gear for this character. We're using Hodo because of +3 skills and FCR. I'd honestly say that if you can somehow, 125 FCR is probably not necessarily a bad idea, because you're swapping between decrep and Hemorrhage, and you're actually spamming Hemorrhage a lot. Also, you're teleporting with Enigma, you know, depending on the build you're using, whether you're using Enigma or you're using just Convocation or whatever. But yeah, we are going for the 75 FCR breakpoint. Again, if you can somehow hit the 125, I'd probably do that. But, yeah. Hit recovery, we shouldn't be really getting hit that much, honestly. Like, I was getting hit because I was getting a little bit ahead of myself, but you kind of just curse, you know, your decrep, and you kind of stay back, and then curse things from far away. That's kind of how you play this build, or at least that's how I've seen, you know, or how I've played it. We also have SOJ, CNC, and Mars. Mostly like plus skills is all we really care about here, so we can up that hemorrhage damage, because that's the only thing that's actually helping it. So we have Shaco here for survivability and also damage. Then we have Mars, like I was saying. Then a random ring here. I guess you could just go with life. Maybe an MF ring is probably best. Even a Naggle, I guess. 10 FCR Naggle or something. Or 20 FCR ring, maybe. Like, I have a 20 FCR ring if you're pushing to 125, but I don't have anything else to really support it. Maybe if I had a 20 FCR Necromancer amulet or something like that, then I could swap something else out. Or you could go V Magi, and that's 30 FCR there instead of Enigma, and you just use Convocation Teleport. The only thing is, with these setups, is it does require freaking 80-point investment, okay, just to get Hemorrhage to max damage through the skill tree. But anyways, we'll get to the skill tree and stuff in a little bit here. So we're using Arachnid's Mesh for +1 skill, 20 FCR. Enigma, like I was talking about, fast run walk is nice. PDR is really nice. The Magic Find, Teleport, skills. Obviously, obvious choice right here is Trangs, because the +2 skills with Trangs. And we corrupted it with 11 Cold Res. So, good stuff here. And then we have Elders. I wouldn't say it doesn't matter too much. The boots, try to get 40 fast run walk, I'd say, and a cooldown. But cooldown's important, I'd say, because of the teleporting. And Homunculus, you got +2 to curses, and you get +2 to Necromancer skills, so you're actually getting +4 hemorrhage here. And I just put in points for res, like, because you can. On swap we have CTA. Again, I always say this, but like in pod, CTA is like the last thing. Okay? Like, it'll give you plus skill, which is kind of nice for hemorrhage damage, I guess. But it doesn't give you that much life, honestly. It gives you some, but it doesn't give you that much life. Because we're using Enigma, we probably could have used the Spirit Shield to get that like +1 skill, but again, it doesn't really matter that much. CTA is kind of just like, you know, slap it on swap and do whatever. Merc Gear, you could go Obedience or Insight, I'd say. I'd say Obedience because this character actually has struggle on bosses. You're gonna kill the boss eventually, but like, Crushing Blow will speed up the process with your Mercenary, so I'd say Obedience. And then Fortitude and Steel Shade, you know. Yeah, so like, those are good options. You could also go Andes, you can go Treachery. I might actually go Treachery instead of Fortitude, just for the Crushing Blow. Just get as much IAS as you can. I'm not that good with Mercenary IAS breakpoints, but I know GT is pretty fast, or Giant Thresher. So, as far as charms, I'm just trying to max my res out, get some life. Again, Curse and Life Skillers are kind of cool here. They're pretty cheap on softcore. Hardcore, it was a lot more expensive. Any Torch, normal stuff. And that pretty much does it for the gear. So let's show you my skills now. So, summoning skills, I have like 1 point into all these. You actually don't need Convocation at all if you're using Enigma. Because you can use Warp. And they share cooldown, so you can't just like Convocation warp, convocation warp, as much as you want. The thing is, though, you can't get down as low on the cooldown if you're using Enigma for like the warp. Basically, convocation is faster, is what I'm trying to say. Convocation is faster if you just like put a bunch of points into this. But, you know, whatever you want to do. I believe it goes down to 0.4 or 0.5, like the Druid. If you have cooldown boots, I think it'll be 0.4. The Steel Shade Jewel is IS Splash Melee. I believe it's just Splash. So you could definitely, like, you know, put something else in there. But, you know, at least... Or, it's Replenish Life, Cold Res, ED Splash. It looks like a rare jewel. Maybe Gold Find? I don't know. But basically, Splash is the thing that really matters on the Mercenary. More leeching, etc. Back to the skill tree. So again, 1 point in everything. Reviving all this stuff is good for meat shields. I use the Blood Golem just because heals are great. 1 point Soul Mastery. Nothing should be surprised there. Just because of summoning things at the beginning, I like to put, I believe it's 21 points. Maybe it's 22. I can't remember. But whatever it is, enough points so that Desecrate has no cooldown, so you can just spam it. It's nice. So, yeah, I just put a couple points in here for removing the cooldown. Other than that, I use Bone Armor, and you don't actually want to put points into Bone Armor, you want to put it into its synergy because you get more survivability, point for point, so you get more bang for your buck if you put it into the synergy rather than absorb. As you can see, you only get 15 absorb if you put points into Bone Armor versus you get 20 absorb from the synergy. Hemorrhage, you kind of just... Or wait, maybe I should show that again without the webcam. So, I don't know if I was blocking it, but basically, yeah. Like I was saying. Hemorrhage, you basically, you know, just read the synergies and you put the points in. I do 1 point amp, I do 1 point decrypt, and 1 point lore resist if I'm playing with other people. You know, it costs you 1 point, and you have like level 30, depending on how many plus skills you have. I believe the max damage for Hemorrhage is like 10k per second. When buffed, I think I'm somewhere around... Yeah, 9.6. So it's around 10k, I believe, is maxed. I think I'm missing a couple, you know, plus skills. Like, obviously, if I drop Geeds or something, or get a 3 Maras or something. But yeah. So, 20 point Hemorrhage, 20 point Iron Maiden, 20 point Weaken, and Life Tap. And then 1 point of these. Very straightforward, to be honest. But, like I was saying earlier, this isn't super softcore friendly because a lot of things on a cheaper budget can clear way faster than this character. On hardcore, you could probably like be max resist on everything and you could do any map. You could slow walk through any map on hardcore most likely. So I had a friend that was actually doing that. He had like a 4-socket Viper. He put runes in it and like, yeah, he just did every map. Even if I had like lore res and conviction, he was fine. He still had max res. It was ridiculous. Now obviously your summons are gonna suffer from that, but you know, you'll be fine. You kind of have options with the small charms here. Life, res. You could go for the hit recovery, but I didn't really care too much about that. Yeah, we talked about skills, so let's talk about the stats real quick. Again, as always with like every build in Diablo 2, just enough strength so you can wear things. And then, you know, you have Enigma here, so we get a ton of strength here. That's, I believe, the heaviest piece of gear right now. So I could technically strength bug and then just put on Enigma. So that's an option. But no points in dexterity, no points in energy, and then you just vitality dump. So enough points in the strength to wear things, and dexterity if you're wearing something that requires dex. For example, Hodo requires dex in a flail, like 35 dex here. But, you know, we easily have that with Torch and Annie and all other gear. But then Vitality Dump. That's pretty much the gear, dude. Like I was saying, Obedience, I'd say is probably best in slot. You could probably go with Insight as well. But, up to you. It is a neat build. It is kind of cool, you know, cursing things. Like I was saying, it's just not softcore, like, not fast enough, in my opinion, for softcore. If you don't mind fooling around or whatever, it's a cool build. Shadow Fang. But I do have fun with it. If you're looking to chill, it's a chill build. Anyways, guys, if you enjoyed the video, be sure to hit that follow, like button, subscribe, all that good stuff. I mostly stream on Twitch. And, yeah, hope you enjoyed the guide. Let me know in the comments below if you have questions or anything like that. Thank you all for being here. You beasts!